All right, so how do we know that God exists? So I'm going to start, before I get right into that, with two definitions. I'm going to talk about the definition of philosophy and science. So the definition of philosophy is the rational investigation of questions about existence, knowledge, and ethics. Definition of science is a systematic knowledge of the physical or material world gained through observation and experimentation. Okay, so this is important because in science, when considering science by its definition, it is not possible for us to prove or disprove God's existence through science. Um, and in fact, science, in its in the nature of science, it doesn't need to consider God's existence in order to function as it was designed to. In the case of philosophy, however, it is possible to rationalize and through rationalization discover the existence of God. And not only that, but philosophy must necessarily ask this question about God's existence because whether God exists or not has a strong impact on moral philosophy. So when I'm going to explain to you how we can know that God exists, I'm not giving you scientific explanations. There can be none. I'm giving you philosophical reasonings that lead us to know that God exists. So the first argument is the argument from cause. And that argument basically says, well, where did everything come from, right? It's like it has to have come from something. There has to be something, some uncreated something that is the source of everything that exists now, right? What caused the Big Bang? What happened before that? Was there stuff before that? And what created that stuff? And so on. And we keep going back and back. We have to say at some point there has to be something that always existed that is the source of everything that exists. And that something that always existed is what we call God. Another argument is that when one thing creates another, what it creates must first be in itself. For example, um, human beings produce more human beings. And we're able to do that because the genetic code for human beings is already in us, which allows us to create more humans. Another example is an artist doing a painting, right? An artist can paint something, but the idea of what to paint has to first be in the artist before it can come out and be created in the painting. You have a rock, right? You can take pieces off the rock and that'll be just more rock, right? You can't get anything else from rock besides rock, right? That's the basic idea. So considering that, then this first something, uncreated something at the beginning of everything, must necessarily be living in order to create a universe that produced life. This first something, uncreated something, that's the creation, that's the cause of the existence of everything else, must be intelligence if it can lead to the creation of intelligent creatures, right? So that's that sort of thing. I want to tell you about this computer simulation experiment that I read about. In my normal job, I'm a computer programmer, so I sort of love this sort of thing. And so they made this computer simulation of creating cells. And the idea of the simulation was to get these cells to evolve, right? They deal with bombarded random changes, and they have to evolve to survive, simply survive. And they wanted to watch them evolve and improve so that they can, basically simulate a form of evolution. And I remember reading about this and noticing how these programmers had to put all these special conditions in order to make this happen. In other words, they couldn't create any environment to create evolution. They had to put in all these conditions to force the environment to produce the results that they were looking for, which is to evolve, right? So they couldn't do it with just any rules. They had to be very specific with the idea of what they wanted to create. And so taking this to God and His creation, the universe that we exist in, it's basically, it can't be just anything, any set of rules, physical rules that would have led to the creation of life and intelligence. It had to be rules creating universe, rules designed to create a universe that's predisposed to create life in order to actually end up with life. I'll give you an example. There's this article read by Eric Metazas. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing his last name right, but basically he said in this article, which is how the more we learn about the laws of physics, the more it's starting to show us that maybe God did create all this. And this is a quote from him. Astrophysicists now know that the values of the four fundamental forces, gravity, the electromagnetic force, and the strong and weak nuclear forces, were determined less than 1/millionth of a second after the Big Bang. Alter any one value and the universe could not exist. For instance, if the ratio between the nuclear strong force and the electromagnetic force had been off by the tiniest fraction of the tiniest fraction, by even 1 part in 1 in all these zeros, then no stars could have formed at all. So the universe had to be specifically designed to create a condition that is predisposed to creating life. And some people may respond to this, well, this must mean then that there are infinite universes, and of course we're going to be in a universe, since we're living, we would be in a universe that, one of those many universes that happen to be right for creating life. But that reasoning doesn't hold, because there actually, it's been proven in mathematics that there are actually multiple degrees of infinity. For example, if you take countable infinity, like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Or in fact, in infinity, including all the rational numbers, right? That's one level of infinity. Then a higher level of infinity is the set of all irrational numbers, and the set of all rational numbers cannot fill all the set of irrational numbers. And so when you're using this infinite universe example, it's you're proposing that countable infinity could fill up a higher degree of infinity, the rational number, the irrational number set, for example. And so that doesn't work. Although, let's say you want to argue that the universes, only the universes created are the ones that happen to create intelligent life. And in that case, I can be agreeable with that, because that would actually demonstrate the existence of God, right? If only the universe are created that happen to be predisposed to be creating intelligent life, then that suggests that the original creator of all things must also be intelligent for that to happen. So there we go. We have basically philosophical proof of the existence of God.